First of all, can I just acknowledge our traditional custodians of the land that we're meeting on today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. So today it's not a long session, but I did promise you, and I'll continue to do it, to give you regular updates on the organisational changes, what we're going through. Today really is only about the changes that we've implemented, nothing in the future yet, so I just want to make sure you're across those. Most of it you'll probably not be surprised at, but it's good to ensure you're all on the same message. And this will go out to frontline staff as well. So if you get asked, we'll send this video out to staff as well. So, chameleons are a wonderful creature if you didn't know about them. I was trying to think how can I demonstrate change when we've been on this journey for such a long time, and it was actually my daughter who raised this with me, going, do you know about this creature and over the last 1,000 years how it's changed itself to adapt to continuously new environments over the last 1,000 years? I said, no, not really. But anyway, when you look at a chameleon, we're all very similar to this, right? So chameleons change colour. They know when their enemies are around. They know what to do when they have to change, and they do it over a long period of time, and they take time to think about that change process. And the reason they're still around today is because they're adapters and they're survivors. And I think, believe it or not, whilst we're not a chameleon, we don't change colour. What's important is, today is really important because you have adapted and you have changed. And I think it was Emma who asked me yesterday, are you relieved about some of the changes here? And I actually didn't think about it that way, because for some of you, there have been really big changes. And to a degree, when I reflect on that, I am, because we're now moving. And that's probably the most important part about today. We're moving, and we're moving towards something great, and it's really this group and the staff on the front line that can actually make the changes happen. So the changes, I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but today we're going to focus on the child and family changes to programs, and some of the new governance that's coming into process, legislative governance, that we all have to adhere to over the next few months. So you might go, why is Gary putting into place all these new advisory committees? Well, we don't have a choice, but in fact you've got to see this as an opportunity as well. So we're going to embrace the change and use it to our advantage. We won't focus today on aged care because that's BAU. There's one element I want to talk about, but we'll embark on that in the next town hall because we're still working through how we can improve our systems and processes in aged care. I think this was Jewish Care up till now, so lots of pieces floating around the organisation, but I often get asked, I really don't know how it all fits in. Well, Gary, I don't understand how the new child and family structure will fit in with Triage, will fit in with how we do our work in the future. So today is my attempt to solidify that for you. The next chart I'm going to show you is the senior executive changes. It's not detailed, and I've done that on purpose. And the reason the changes have been done is to, one, try and find some efficiencies and to get some consistency across the divisions. So I'll take you through it, then we'll do a deep dive into community support and programs. So I'll start from the top because we have some new people in the room and you may not understand some of the governance that goes on in Jewish Care. So you have the board, you have me, and to your right, you have a joint operating committee. So Rob Ory and myself, Rob Ory is the CEO of Montefiore, and myself oversee the Burgess Centre. The reason being is we run the programs on the same property as Montefiore. So, and Christina manages that, and both Rob and I supervise Christina. We do all the back-end administrative functions for the Burgess Centre, and we run the programs for the Burgess Centre, but it's a partnership. It's been around for a long time. Members of our board sit on that job, and members of Montefiore board and others sit on it as well. Tamara, you all know, accounts and payroll. We've moved IT and facilities merely because we're going through lots of changes in accounts and finance, and we want a real focus on that at the moment. So we've moved it across. You've met Ben and the clinical team, Lorenzo, Fred and Grant. Warren, we've kind of, thanks to Warren, divided him into two. We only want one Warren, but We now got 2 of him. The process for that was the complaints and feedback we get often relate to clinical, in a sense that they might have some issues with how we're delivering care and quality. We want to make sure that's linked in well with clinical. So there's a dotted line that Warren can work with Ben. And there's also a line about community and donor engagement with Delete. So Delete will oversee communications and engagement. So this role pulls in IT I've spoken about, marketing, volunteers and programs. Now there's a consistency and there's a theme in that. One, it's community engagement. One, it's about what we do with the client, the customer, the consumer. And 2, we use volunteers everywhere in the organisation. A big part of that is in programs and with our community. So we've tried to truncate it so it's streamlined. Anita, who you all know, will oversee what we call services, in essence frontline service delivery. And we have Leela, who's currently overseeing community support. So we had child and family, we're now community support, and I'll go into that detail on the next slide. We have NDIS, Chris in facilities and office management, and Bronwyn, who's the head of community age services. Most organisations have a kind of a COO, Chief Operating Officer, or a director that sits over services. There's a few reasons for that. One, to get some consistency in systems and processes. And 2, we're small enough to be able to find opportunities to work together in those divisions. Now, I often hear from you, I don't know what this division's doing, I don't know what that division's doing. Well, this is an attempt to pull that all together. Talia, who has had her baby, Miriam's replacing Talia. We have the care coordination team and the Centre of Brave Recovery, which really is our psychiatrists and psychologists, which we'll go into detail shortly. And you have Emma Smith, who's not with us today, looking at L&D, people and culture, and she'll just manage the IT team just for a short period whilst Delete's away. And I'll make this available to you afterwards. So I just want to give you some clarity on what Triage, the care coordination team, will do. So we now have Lara and Vanessa. Are you in the room today, Lara or Vanessa?
No, but they'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, okay. They are making their way around the organisation and they're spending a lot of time. So I often also get asked is why can't we get Triage up and running right now? One of my biggest areas that I've learned in here that we have to do this slow and we have to do it right. So they're going to understand your business backwards before we start implementing Triage, and we want to be able to educate you on what Triage is, and we just want to do this at the right pace. So the anchor is head of clinical intake. You've got Vanessa and Lara, they're part-time, so it's one position. Sarah, who works on a casual basis just doing our Brave talks. And Miriam and I are on the hunt for a psychiatrist and psychologist. It's hard work. If you know of anyone, please let us know. But the idea is having the psychiatrist a couple of days a week. We're looking at potentially an in-house psychiatrist or potentially a partner model where we use another organisation and we, in essence, buy, for a better word, some places. We're just not sure because it is a very, very competitive market at the moment. On the side here, I've got Claire, who's going to be our advisory and referral manager. Now, that's a really important position for Jewish Care. Most organisations have an NGO engagement person who can facilitate referrals on your behalf, so you're not spending a lot of time trying to find the right place for our clients. Because when it goes through Triage, we won't be able to accept everybody. That's based on capability and capacity. Or the fact we're not delivering that service. It's a Jewish client or a Jewish member of the Jewish community, we want to help them. So part of Claire's role is to find that place in the service system. It does exist, but we need new partnerships, reinvigorated partnerships, and an easy referral process. So Claire will be working closely with our care coordination team when it does come through the funnel and we don't have the capacity. She'll also work with the teams, if we do have capacity, through that review every 3 months to cycle out our clients to other service providers, if we've done our part in assisting them. And Ruth, where's Ruth? Okay, Ruth's working from home. So the other role, so Ruth was doing intake. We're going to use Ruth's skills and have her as the aged care navigator. So we know aged care is big business for us, and we know there are many, many clients out there that could and potentially receive services from us. And we know how difficult it is to get on the aged care portal and how difficult it is to actually